Blade, it's the Daywalker.
Welcome back to Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy. So we have to talk about Blade because it's official now that it was his voice in the Eternals post-credits scene. Blade joining the MCU is massive on its own.
Ooh, so exciting.
But it could mean so much more because I think he's there to recruit Dane Whitman to join the Midnight Suns. A team of badasses who deal with the supernatural, fighting monsters, vampires, demons, zombies, and everything else. So the events of the Eternals might have unleashed a powerful supernatural evil on the world, and Blade is doing a Nick Fury thing, assembling a team that will include some of the most badass characters in the comics, like Ghost Rider, Moon Knight, and others. And based on the rumors, we will be getting a Midnight Suns movie very soon, and I got some ideas on how it's all going to come together. So get your black leather jackets on, get ready for some metal, because the 90s are back, and the Midnight Suns are about to kick some demonic ass.
Can you keep up?
I was born ready.
Let's ride.
Alright, first we need to talk about who the Midnight Suns are. So they're a team of supernatural heroes who first teamed up in the 90s Rise of the Midnight Suns story. A team that deals with the occult, battling the beings that hide in the shadows. They deal with supernatural threats to Earth, the stuff the Avengers aren't even aware of and might not even know how to handle.
What, you amateurs are supposed to be helping me? Look at you. You're not ready to roll with this. I mean, look at the way you dressed. But that's supposed to be tactical? The is wrong with you? You think this is a joke? You think this is a sitcom?
The Midnight Suns are hands down just awesome. They include some of the coolest anti-heroes in comics. So all of these characters will be perfect additions to the MCU. The rumors claim that the Midnight Suns will assemble at some point in Phase 5. Which makes sense if you look at what we're getting in the coming years. Blade will have his own movie, and we'll talk about how the Black Knight fits into that. Then there's the upcoming Moon Knight show, which is rumored to tie into Blade and the Midnight Suns. And it was just recently announced that Werewolf by Night is getting a Disney Plus Halloween special, where Gael Garcia Bernal will appear as Jake Gomez. And Werewolf by Night is also rumored to appear in Moon Knight, which is fitting because Moon Knight's comic debut was in Werewolf by Night number 32. So yeah, it's obvious that all these supernatural characters are going to cross over and team up very soon.
I need to go closer. I want to get a closer look at this. Can you take us closer? Thank you.
For some reason, I picture New York City on a snowy night with everything on fire, the sky is red, and there's monsters everywhere, and the world's only hope is a group of outcasts who specialize in hunting and killing supernatural beings. I guess that's going to be my pitch to Kevin Feige. Midnight Suns is a great way to dive into the supernatural and horror side of the MCU. That's something that was missing for me with Doctor Strange. I really like that movie, but the magic was tied too much to other dimensions of the multiverse. WandaVision finally gave us actual supernatural stuff, like witches and spells and all of that. So we are in the right direction there for sure, and the events of WandaVision might be the reason why we get the Midnight Suns. But before that, let's talk about the post-credits scene of the Eternals and how it establishes the future of the Midnight Suns. So in this scene, Dane Whitman is about to grab the ebony blade, but Blade's voice stops him, asking him if he's sure he's ready for that. Eternals gave us some hints about Dane's complicated family, and that sword is at the center of it all. I assumed that after Ereshkigal took Cersei, Dane might be hoping that the dark magic of the ebony blade is going to help him get Cersei back somehow. No offense, but you know nothing, Dane.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
But what is Blade doing there? Blade is known to be a vampire hunter, but he's clashed with other supernatural beings in the comics. As a half-vampire, Blade is aging very slowly, so I hope it's revealed that Blade has actually been around for decades in the MCU, battling the forces of darkness. The Ebony Blade is ancient, so someone like Blade must be aware of its dark power and history, and that's why he's there, to prevent Dane from being consumed by the sword's darkness. So the Ebony Blade was forged as a counterpart to Excalibur. It can cut through almost everything, and it gives the wielder immortality.
'Tis but a scratch.
A scratch? Your arm's off.
No, it isn't.
Well, what's that then?
But it has a terrible curse. The Ebony Blade brings the worst out of its wielder, feeding on rage and bloodlust. Now there's a lot more to this sword, and we covered everything you need to know about it in this video, so be sure to watch that for a lot more detail on the Ebony Blade. So I guess next time we see Dane will be in Blade's movie, where he will learn how to use the Ebony Blade and become the Black Knight.
Next time I see you, you'll be all in black. It was always my color.
And that's just cool, seeing Blade and Jon Snow teaming up, slaying vamps, kicking ass.
Ooh, so exciting.
Blade and Black Knight have teamed up in the comics. They were both members of MI-13. It's a counterpart to MI6, that's the agency James Bond works for. MI-13 deals with the mystical and supernatural. What's interesting is that Blade is actually British in the comics.
I did not know that.
But because Wesley Snipes made the character so popular, Blade is now an American in all the movies, including in the MCU, as Mahershala Ali's accent indicates. MI-13 are pretty cool, but I don't think that's where we're headed with Blade and Dane. Instead, they will be part of the Midnight Suns, which makes more sense, and it's what we are focusing on in this video. That means that Blade will be Black Knight's mentor, and this is fitting since they are both cursed. Dane by the sword, and Blade because he's a vampire. So these two are a great match, both trying to be good guys while battling their bloodlust.
I'm gonna own this curse. And I'm gonna use it against you. The spirit of vengeance. Fighting fire with fire.
And that should be the theme for all the members of the Midnight Suns. An alliance of anti-heroes all being damned for one reason or another. All of them have darkness inside as they fight the forces of evil to save the world. Now I think the forces of darkness will unleash their evil because of one powerful being, and that's the Scarlet Witch. When Wanda unlocked her full chaos magic, it was like a bat signal to every supernatural being on Earth that the Scarlet Witch is back and the world's going to end and be covered by darkness.
It's your destiny to destroy the world.
There's also the Darkhold, and I bet Wanda is going to accidentally unleash some evil darkness while messing with that book. So even the Daywalker will need some help to stop the forces of darkness. That's the reason why Blade is assembling the Midnight Suns. So why would it be Blade that assembles the team and not Doctor Strange? Well, Strange is going to have his hands full with the multiverse and other dimensions for a while. That's where Marvel is headed with Spider-Man No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness. And Wanda and Loki will be involved in that as well. I do hope that Doctor Strange and Wanda will team up with the Midnight Suns. It could all happen in the future for sure. But Strange and Wanda are sort of too big time now. They deal with the really big threats, the ones that the Avengers fight. To me, Midnight Suns always felt more street level. Not that they deal with small-time criminals, they always fight some of the most powerful beings out there. I guess just more down to earth, a bunch of outcasts who are all rough around the edges. They don't deal with superhero stuff, they fight the evil monsters of the world.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Also, we could see the Midnight Suns clash with Wanda at some point. If her chaos magic is what awakened the forces of darkness, that means that the Scarlet Witch is the source, and that prophecy for the end of the world is kind of alarming.
You don't know what you've done.
We all love Wanda, but Blade and the others will go after her without hesitation if they believe that she's dangerous. So that opens the door for a supernatural civil war, where the Midnight Suns clash with Wanda, Doctor Strange, Wong, Loki, Shang-Chi, and some other magical heroes. Now that will be badass. Call me Feige.
Are you out of your damn mind?
So who's going to be part of the MCU's Midnight Suns other than Blade and the Black Knight? Well, Moon Knight's going to join the MCU soon in his own Disney Plus show, and he's tied to the supernatural while also being a street-level hero. Werewolf by Night's also been announced, so I see him joining the team as well. But then there's everyone's favorite, Ghost Rider. Not sure if it'll be Johnny Blaze or Robbie Reyes, but both are awesome. Reyes is technically in the MCU already since he appeared in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it seems like Marvel Studios doesn't really recognize that show as canon. Gabriel Luna did a great job, so I'm sure they could work a way to bring him back as Ghost Rider. And Ghost Rider gives us a direct connection to Mephisto.
Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast! Ah!
Who could definitely clash with the Midnight Suns at some point. There are also rumors that Elsa Bloodstone will be part of the team. She's sort of like Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Hey, Buff. Need a hand?
No, thanks. I'm good.
A while back, the people behind Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. were planning on doing an Elsa Bloodstone show, but nothing came out of it. But based on the rumors, Elsa is going to join the Midnight Suns. And I think that makes sense. While they are called the Midnight Suns, the team included a few female heroes, so a badass woman like Elsa is a great addition to the team. Also, the Punisher. He's not really supernatural, but he has been part of the team in the comics. And who doesn't love the Punisher? Bring back John Barenthal, and I'm sure it's all going to work out. And maybe years down the line, Frank Castle will become Cosmic Ghost Rider, and that'll be simply so perfect that I'm getting too excited. Okay, let me catch my breath. Whew. Now there is one key member of the Midnight Suns that I doubt we will see in the MCU, and that's Morbius. I honestly won't even bother trying to understand if Morbius is part of the MCU or not. I'm pretty sure even Sony doesn't know that.
Who the hell are you, man?
I am Venom.
So I highly doubt that Marvel Studios will use him. I could be wrong, since Venom is now part of the MCU, so it is still possible.
Is he though?
A great story for Marvel to follow is the 90s Rise of the Midnight Suns comics, which was the first time the team ever assembled. In that story, the Midnight Suns fought Lilith, the mother of all demons. So Lilith's history is pretty long and complicated. She's a fallen angel and a demon, and a powerful evil being. She also has ties to Atlantis, but I'm not sure if we'll see that part in the MCU. Lilith has a critical role when it comes to magic and the supernatural in the comics. She may have created the first form of magic, like witchcraft. Her work created the first vampire, and in modern times, she teamed up with Dracula to form the Vampire Nation. Blade and Dracula are bitter enemies, and there's a good chance we'll see them clash in Blade's movie. So Lilith is connected to so many mystical things in the MCU, and I won't even be surprised if there's something that ties her to the Scarlet Witch. So in the comics, after being a force of darkness for thousands of years, Lilith was imprisoned inside a being called Tiamat, and that sort of sounds like Tiamat, even though they are two completely different things. That got me thinking, so here's my idea. Lilith was trapped in some magical prison thousands of years ago after being defeated by the heroes of the time, like the Ancient One or whoever was the Sorcerer Supreme back then. Also, Sir Percy, the first Black Knight and Dane's ancestor, and maybe an old host of the Ghost Rider spirit. Now that would be cool, a Ghost Rider who's also a medieval knight. Yes, that would be cool. That sounds awesome.
Yes!
In the present day, Wanda's chaos magic wakes Lilith, and she starts influencing the forces of darkness from her prison. But then, a freaking celestial rose from the Earth's core, and that changed everything. So when Tiamat was coming out of the ground, it sent both a physical and cosmic shockwave all around the world. That shockwave broke the magical seals on Lilith's prison, and she was freed. So Lilith wants to unleash hell on Earth, and she has a bunch of demonic children called the Lilin who serve as her henchmen. Also, it's hinted that Lilith has a connection to Mephisto. They hooked up eons ago and then made many demonic children. I can totally see Mephisto clashing with the Midnight Suns. Anyways, I really hope that we're getting a Midnight Suns movie or even a Disney Plus show. The team is awesome, and they will be a perfect addition to the MCU, and also a chance to do something a little different with the supernatural and horror direction.
This worked really good.
On top of that, Midnight Suns could serve as the gateway to a darker corner of the MCU. Movies and shows that are less family-friendly, sort of like the Marvel Knights from the comics. I think it'll be a good idea because these characters are darker, so the approach should be different from anything else in the MCU. Not necessarily like hard R-rated, that won't happen with Disney, but something more mature and gritty. And come on, these are just some of the coolest and most fan-favorite characters ever, so it's a no-brainer. But what do you think? Which heroes do you hope to see in the Midnight Suns? What is Blade's connection to the Ebony Blade? Let me know in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy.